right, the webinar is now live. Let's see. Oh, we're like, boom, everyone's joining on. I can see all the participant numbers starting to kick in there. Welcome, guys. We're up to week 4 of Weddinar already. I hope everyone has their champagnes or their glasses of wine ready. Everyone cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
Oh, gosh. I always need one of those to get started. I think it helps the conversation flow. Now, I can see the participant numbers going up. Guys, this week we've done something a little bit different. I've opened up the chat panel. I'll be honest, the first couple of weeks I was a little bit like, not sure what I'm doing here. But this week we want to make it much, much more interactive. So down the bottom of your screen, you should see a little button that says chat. It's got little like a talking symbol there. So if you click on the speech bubble there, and then you're going to see a panel open up. Now on that panel, there is a to button. And in the to button, if you click on it, it says, you've got the choice. It probably, I don't know everyone's settings, but often it's set to only send the panelists a message. What I would love you guys to do is set it to all panelists and attendees. So you should see the little to, like on your chat, in the to all panelists, and like press the drop down button and set it to all panelists and attendees. Now what that means is that you can play the game. I got 3 $20 Amazon gift vouchers up for grabs, and it's kind of like a way of getting you guys to start using the chat panel. So are you ready? Make sure you've got your chat open, and whoever answers the question first wins the $20 Amazon gift voucher. I was a little bit limited in what I could give away. It had to be something you guys can use online, eh? All right. So first of all, name an animal beginning with E. I know, super hard, right? Let's see if I get any answers back in. Oh, elephant, emu. Excellent. Matt, you were first. Congratulations. You win the $20 there. Okay. Now,
Amelia.
Sorry?
Maybe Amelia Webb on mine. Oh, sorry. No, Riley. Riley's above me.
Oh, yep. You've got Amelia. Yep, you're right. And emu. I hadn't even thought of emu. Nice answer.
Good, well done.
Yes, good one, Amelia. Okay, yep, going from the top. Got it. Okay, perfect. Now, the next one. What? Oh, I remember. Something in your fridge beginning with T. Who have we got? Oh, Riley. Nice. Tomato. I was going to say tomato too. Okay, excellent. So we've got Amelia and we have Riley. Okay, one more question. You ready? Nice one, Anthony. Nice one, Serge. Almost got it. I reckon you'll get this one. A boy's name beginning with G. Let's see. Oh, Tara. So fast. Who wrote Jeff with a J?
So speedy.
Okay, Tara, you won the third one. So I'm going to email you guys out because I've got all your details from when you registered. I'll email you out a gift voucher there as well. And so that will be something that you guys can enjoy and order online. Now, the idea is that we've kind of got used to using the chat panel now. As you guys go through, think of this as like a conversation, like a bit of fun. And you know how when you're listening to someone and you agree with what they say, you go, totally, yeah, right. Do that but in the chat panel. So then we can kind of get some feedback and be like, okay, they like hearing this information. They want to hear more on this. Or if you're kind of like going, okay, guys, speed this up, you can speed that up too. Although probably don't do that so much in normal conversation, but hey, you can do it here. All right, so we just start off with, I'm going to introduce you to our beautiful panelists. We have Claudia from Modern Wedding. She is the online editor of Modern Wedding magazine. Say hi, Claudia, and tell us
hi, guys.
A little bit about yourself.
Well, as Rachel said, I'm Claudia. I'm the online editor at Modern Wedding magazine. I've actually been there 2 years next week, which is really exciting. So really excited to be part of this. Thank you so much, Rachel, for including me. And yeah, just really excited to hear everything, chat about what's going on in the world, because it's a little bit terrifying at the moment.
It is.
A little bit scary, and, you know, it takes up every conversation that is basically had with anyone. So it's really nice to have a conversation where it's really productive and it feels like it's moving into the future as it's slowly starting to feel like we are. So super exciting, feeling very positive.
Oh, I know, these restrictions lifting. It's like,
yes,
okay.
Fantastic, finally.
Yeah. And we have Matt Butterworth, who is the CEO of Easy Wedding. Say hi, Matt, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
G'day, guys. So my name's Matt. I've been running Easy Weddings for, in a month, it'll be 20 years. So that's probably a while. Yeah, grew up in the wedding industry, really, with catering and party hire business that was run by my parents. Moved out of that into the web. Bought a book called Learn HTML in 24 hours. And the rest is sort of history. Run a team of about 50 people in Melbourne, #1 wedding site in the country. And we also have operations in the UK as well.
Oh, awesome. And I love it that you come from a wedding business background. So you kind of get us as well. And I love it. I don't know if you guys saw my post on Instagram this week, but yeah, Matt is like, no holds barred. If he thinks that I'm wrong, he's going to tell it today. He'll be like, Rach, come on. So that is really cool. And I have Hayley, who is from the Baker Boys band. And yes, you guys have bands. And I really wanted to make sure that with these Weddinars, that it's Australia-wide. You know, we really want representation across the board for everywhere. And Hayley, your business is like pretty much in every state, right?
We are, yeah. So, we started in Melbourne and I brought it up to Sydney in about 2009. And it's just sort of grown from there, really. And we're pretty much everywhere.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, today we're going to be chatting about basically the 5. Did I just do 10? 5. That's my first champagne, I swear. And we're going to chat about the 5 big mistakes that we really want to avoid making in terms of marketing coming out of COVID, because I don't know about you, but I'm like a little bit like, I think within a day, it's like a roller coaster. Like 1 minute I'm like, yes, I can do this. And then the next minute I'm like, damn it, I nearly swore. I'm like, oh my God, this is just like exhausting and so hard. And I think we can all kind of sympathize that it can be a roller coaster, but sales has never been so important, and making sure that our business, you know, now that we've kind of gone through that initial protect stage that we talked about, and now we're working our way through the adapt stage and moving into the growth stage. And it's actually one of the reasons I'm really excited to have Claudia on board. Like, you are like literally the queen of pivot in terms of taking a traditional online wedding magazine and, you know, going online. I'm going to be really excited to hear your feedback today.
Yeah.
But basically, yeah, so there's 5 key areas that we're going to have a chat about in terms of big mistakes we want to sort of avoid making coming out of COVID-19, because it is a new world, so that we can really focus on making sure our marketing works and grows our business. So the first one is, and I've got my little list here as well. And I should let you know as well, I'm going to email some more details out after this as well. And you can also watch a repeat of this on YouTube. Weddinar has got its own YouTube channel as well. So the first one is, the big mistake to avoid is focusing too much on the desperate instant sale, and totally understand why we all need it, rather than focusing on long-term business growth. I mean, I know for us, we're sort of looking at our goals in terms of short-term and long-term, but a big marketing mistake can be to try and, you know, jump on that instant, get us through this next little bit instant sale, and be spending so much time that we're focusing on that one little thing rather than thinking about the long-term growth of our business. Matt, what are your sort of takeaways in that area? Because I know that you're like massive in terms of business planning and business growth.
Yeah, I think in terms of business growth, I think there's 2 separate things there. I think number 1, business growth is a lot about just setting out, you know, at this time, like in tough times, it's not about the 5-year plan. It's about the 30-day plan, the 60-day plan, 90-day plan, just getting through, you know, the really tough times and all the things associated with that. And then when we start to, like, I think most businesses have gone through the first 2 weeks, which was really just panic. Then it came through to sort of realization stage. Now people are starting to sort of plan for the future.
Yeah.
I think in terms of like the business growth, you know, I think we need to put that off to the side and say, okay, what are the areas we need to improve in marketing, sales, conversion rates, target markets, value propositions, those sort of things. That's on like the business strategy side. But in terms of sales, I don't think you can, you know, be too desperate in sales in these times. I think you need to be desperate. I think you need to, you know, look at every single opportunity coming through and doing what you have to do to get the sale across the line. I'm not saying that you need to discount, because brides are still, or couples are still after, you know, that perfect solution for your service in their wedding. But yeah, we need to get those sales over the line, because if they're not booking you, they're going to book one of your competitors in the next 2 weeks. So
yes,
I don't think it's about, you know, being desperate or not. It's just sticking to your usual sales process or improving it right now.
Yeah, I agree. I know I spoke to, was doing a Zoom wedding interview with someone the other day. And to be honest, I could just feel that panic and desperation in my voice. Like, whereas normally I would be like, yeah, sure, you know, I am really good at what I do and I offer you credibility and I know I can deliver. And instead I could feel myself being, please book because I need the deposit. Like, you know, like it's so easy to fall into that.
Yeah, I think you just got to keep showing that leadership. You know, you got to show that leadership, you know, in your family, in your networks, in your, you know, with your staff and definitely with your customers. You know, they're looking to you. They haven't planned a wedding before. You've probably been through, you know, a couple of recessions potentially before. I think it's just about, you know, how do you decrease risk for the customers at the moment? So what risk might be on their mind? They might think, okay, I want to book a November 2020 wedding. You know, how can I decrease that risk for that couple? So potentially, do we have to say, hey, free postponement for, you know, any weddings booked over the next 8 months or something? You know, we just have to look at it from their eyes as well. But at the end of the day, they're inquiring with you because they're very interested in your services. They've probably looked through your website, your images, your reviews, everything before they've reached out to you. You know, it's a pretty hot lead. So how do we convert that and make them feel at ease and get rid of any reason for them to sort of buy into the panic around wedding planning at the moment?
And Matt, you mentioned about the importance of alleviating risk for people. And I almost like see it as being credibility building is really important right now. And part of that is the instant, yes, you can postpone, but it's also, you mentioned leadership and setting yourself up as an expert, which is often the way that we try and do it. Claudia, I know with modern wedding magazines, there are a lot of opportunities that you can really boost yourself as a leader and an expert in the industry. You know, how do you suggest we go about increasing our credibility?
I think it's something that, and I know something this is Rachael, you've talked about before, is to be seen as credible. A lot of the time people want to see a personal face. They want to know that who they're dealing with, the company they're dealing with, all about them. You know, modern wedding has had a very, as you mentioned, a rich history and there's been lots of changes and we don't shy away from that. We explain exactly what we're doing with our business, what we've done with our business, what we plan to do with our business, and give people a face and someone they can trust so that they look at us and they go, okay, these are credible people we want to work with. There is a personal touch that if they email through to us, they don't talk to, you know, a random person, they most likely talk directly to me, and it's a very personal connection. And I think that personal side of business is so important at the moment, and it's also something that we have time to do. Maybe we're not as busy with clients. We have the time to make those phone calls. I find myself calling and talking to people so often now because I sort of go, I've got that time to make a phone call. And I know, Rachael, you talked recently at one of your seminars about making that phone call and how important it is. And I think that gives, you know, businesses someone that they can relate to and talk to. And at the moment, particularly talk about their worries. Yeah. We all have to accept that at the moment, business is not the same as what it was a year ago. And it's scary, but we just have to accept that it's not the same and it's going through a bit of a lull. And we don't know exactly what will happen after that. So having that personal touch and someone to talk to where they feel like they're really connecting with someone, I think is really what makes people go, this is a credible person to talk to. And any business can do it. They can interact with their brides or their grooms and it can be so personal that they go, okay, I'm talking to a real person who really cares about me and really wants to help me. I think that's so important.
Definitely. And I know, I always say you can't make a hot sale off a cold lead. You know, if you're trying to go out and hit people and get them to book your services on the most important day of their life at a time when everything's up in the air, you know, to me, I think what goes a long way to that is developing that know, like, trust factor, you know, using your social media. And, you know, I know through Easy Weddings and through Modern Wedding Magazine, I've submitted articles and real weddings, and getting that editorial content out there, it really boosts you up as being someone who they can see as a leader in the industry, and they know who you are. So when they walk in, it's not trying to make a cold sale. You've already got through, you know, they already know who you are. They've decided they like you. And now it's getting to that stage where they can decide, do we trust you or not? And if you're trying to get them to go jump straight into that, yes, I trust you to book, but I haven't warmed up to that level yet, it's going to be a lot harder to close that sale now.
Yeah, definitely so true.
And Hayley, what about you from like you're like me, you're sort of like out there and a wedding business actually doing it. How are you finding inquiries at the moment? Are you getting some more through now?
We are, it's starting to pick up. It's certainly not what it was, but it's starting to pick up. And I think our biggest challenge, just sort of speaking to what you guys were talking about before, our biggest challenge in the trustworthy department is that we've always had live showcases that clients can come along and actually meet us and talk to us and see and hear the music, and see the standard of our musicians and all that sort of thing. So it was a big obstacle and hurdle and learning curve for us to sort of find ways, and I think we're still finding ways to make sure we can show clients that our musicians are top notch, and and give them a sense that they've seen what it is they're going to get on the night.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, that's cool. So basically, our first point was that focusing too much on that, like, we need to maximize it, definitely. Like Matt was saying, we can't turn away any work right now. We've got to have that short-term business plan in place, but we also need a long-term growth plan as well. Now, the second part, the second point that I sort of felt was a big mistake we can all try and avoid making, and again, I'm going to go straight to Matt on this one, thinking that marketing stops at social media. It's definitely, like, I know when I went to university, there was like, I think it was like the 5 P's of marketing: price, product, place, promotion, PR. I don't know what they even exist, some of them anymore. But Matt, sometimes I think businesses go, right, marketing equals social media, but there's so much more, right?
Yeah, of course. You definitely can't ignore social. Like, last stats was like 96% of our audience, of our demographic, is on social, right? So, so we need to be there. I think it's useful for lots of different reasons. The thing with social is, a lot of couples will end up on your social regardless of whether they found you on social. Quite often they want to, they'll come across you on Easy Weddings, or they'll come across you on your website, Google, whatever it might be. And quite often your personality doesn't carry through on some of those platforms very well. So they want to come to your social media to see if they trust you as well. So there's usually a lot of points of contact before they actually reach out to you. That makes attribution really hard. It's like, where did the sale actually come from when they've touched 6 points before they even, reach you? But I think with social, it's okay for leads, but I find the conversion rate can suffer because there's not as many details for the couples to see on social media. Not like there is on your website, where there might be, all your imagery and your best imagery. It's got, your product pages, FAQs, blah, blah, blah. So, it might be real weddings. So they get to see a whole bunch of extra information. So you just have to look at the conversion rate from each channel. In terms of other marketing,
actually, can I stop you there for 1 second?
Yeah.
How do you, if I'm a business and I've never actually measured my conversion rate before, how do you suggest we do it?
So it's just conversion rate of the inquiries you get coming through. So, in an ideal world, you'd have a CRM like, HubSpot, Active Campaign. You use the Easy Weddings one. There's a whole bunch of different CRMs. You can use a spreadsheet for all that, man. I don't really care what it is. I just love suppliers that have some sort of an idea about their conversion rates, so they know overall if they're improving. And then the next stage is to get conversion rates per source. So if I can know what my conversion rate is from my website, from Easy Weddings, from from any of my social campaigns, my AdWords, those kind of things, like, it's really important so you know what that return on investment is. The other thing just with social media that I want suppliers to understand is just the amount of time they put into it.
Yes.
Because the average business owner, like, if you're a business owner and you've got you've got rates to pay, staff to pay, all these different things that you could be spending your time doing what you're best at, which is why couples give you money. As a business owner with all those expenses, you've really got to be earning like a minimum of $100 an hour. Let's just say a minimum of $100 an hour, quite often a lot more than that. So what our studies have found is most suppliers are spending about an hour a day on social media. You add that up over a year and it's $36,500 worth of time that just based on that $100 an hour. Like, if they, obviously that goes up a lot if they need to spend $200-300. So I just want them to, realize how much time they're spending, and time equals money in business. Like, are they doing the best activities that they should be to sort of earn customers and provide an awesome experience for those people that use you. Otherwise, it might be better to outsource some of that work to other people. In terms of other marketing that you can do, there's a huge list. So it's probably, obviously SEO is still the place, that generates the most amount of work, depending on how your website's structured. Social media is generally for inspiration. Google's where people go to buy. So if I want something now, I generally don't go to social. It's more for inspiration. So, and even when they get inspired on social media, I find that inspiration can come from anywhere in the world. So then I still need to go to Google. I need to find someone local. So yeah, I still need to search for that. So yeah, I see social as a really good way to, express your personality and that sort of thing. But I want to make sure it does have a return on investment. I want suppliers to value their time and make sure they're spending it the right way. So yeah, SEO, retargeting, referrals in the industry, super important. Massive. Making sure your website is just, current, looks attractive, passes the blink test. Like how good does it look within 4 seconds? Because otherwise they'll go elsewhere. Making sure it's really mobile friendly and loads quick. Like so much of your traffic or interested couples will end up on your website that if it's not performing, you're just going to lose them without ever knowing. You should have Google Analytics, by the way, so you do know. Forget email marketing. Generally, if you're trying to do email marketing, the couples only have 2 to 4 weeks to book each service typically. So by the time you build up a mailing list and you send the next newsletter, that couple's probably already found their DJ or their photographer or venue.
I'm so glad you said that, because I have thought that, but everyone in the world is always saying, oh, email marketing. I'm like, to me, it just never made sense. So I'm really excited to hear you say that.
Yeah, and probably more important than any of the marketing is just making sure that we've got conversion rates on the inquiries. Like, if you can really just destroy the budget if you just keep spending money on marketing and just not working on what comes next in the sales funnel. So obviously, getting back to brides as quickly as possible is probably the number one rule. Like the first supplier to get back to a couple usually has a 50% chance of winning the job.
Yeah.
So, I have couples come to us and say, hey, we're not converting inquiries. And they're like, and we'll say, what did you do with the inquiry? And it's like, oh, I emailed them back within at least a couple of days, I emailed them back. And I'm like, right, well, you're one of 100 emails. Good job. So, making sure we know how many times we're going to follow up. Don't be afraid to follow up, make contact maybe 5 or 6 times potentially to get that first contact, potentially contacting in different methods. So, whether it's WhatsApp or email or phone, SMS, just trying different things, what works for that particular couple. So I really want to make sure people focus on conversion rates of those leads. But yeah, if you want to just do one thing, if you just want to do social, then you just need to do it really, really well, right? Because in the old days, it was like you could just do yellow pages, and that was the only one thing that was around. Nowadays,
I think you and me are the only one that remember yellow pages.
Yeah, maybe I'm getting too old for this, right? But that was all you had to do. But these days, there's 10 things that you can do. Unless you're going to be expert at just one of them, you need to do probably a few things. And the couples are going to reach out and look at quite a few different your social, your website, just to get that credibility, as you said, and also making sure you've got reviews everywhere. Reviews are ultra important. So make sure you've got your Easy Weddings reviews and Google reviews going really strong.
I think, we've definitely, we've got a lot of, one thing that we've been working on over this time is our automated or templated emails. So when we get an inquiry that comes in, we'll send out an immediate response that's personalized to them. But it is using a template to make it really fast for ourselves. And then they go into our CRM, and which is your client relationship management. How did I go? One of those things.
That's right. Cool.
Yeah. And then what's really fantastic about that is that we have automatic emails that go out 2 days later, 1 week later, and 2 weeks later. So sometimes they can still be in that information gathering stage. And what I'm a massive believer in is serving. So rather than blasting information at them, thinking about, okay, well, what is it that they're looking for right now? And we're doing things like providing them with an ebook of top wedding locations that you can, like secret hidden spots in Sydney where they could possibly have their wedding photos. Now, that's not saying you should book Inlighten and get all this money off. It's saying, hey guys, I'm helping you and check out how pretty my photos are at the same time.
Yeah.
But it's also keeping in touch with them, you know, not just once, but 4 times immediately after that inquiry, but not in an annoying way, in a helpful and serving way. And we've been finding that that works really, really well. Hayley, what about you? What are you finding other than socials is working for you in terms of marketing?
Well, I have to say we love Easy Weddings and all our Easy Wedding reviews, and yeah, it's a huge help to us.
The reviews are good.
Yeah, no, we've been, we get these great reviews, and it's also really nice for us because I send them on to all our musicians who were involved in the particular gig. So when the reviews come through, so I can show them that, you know, you were doing a great job, or if we get any feedback. So that's been really nice. There's also quite a few others that I think are trying to be Easy Wedding copycats, and it's a bit of a job sifting through them and seeing what's actually worthwhile and what's not. There's a lot of, there was someone recently saying it was $50 for a lead. So if they referred work to us, it was going to cost us $50 for every lead. So there's a few things out there that are a bit unusual, and yeah, just sifting through them. But I think for us at the moment, social media is a big one, really, especially while people are at home and kind of scrolling a little bit more than usual.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's been big.
And what about you, Claudia? Because I know, like for you guys, obviously, social media is a big part of it. But you know, like I said, we've been lucky enough to have editorials through you. You do a lot more than just social media, right?
Absolutely, and I absolutely agree with Matt that you can't just focus on social media. It's not how anyone should market their business. I think it's a really crucial part. And the thing I always think of when I think about that is that a bride typically now takes 20 touch points before making a buying decision. And when you think about how many times you can reach a couple 20 times through the internet, social media is one of the easiest ways to do it. So we obviously have a huge social following where we're reaching upwards of 6 million brides or couples a month. So we love using that as a platform to reach our couples, to engage with them, to showcase our clients. We work with Baker Boys Band, of course, but there are other things. Absolutely. Moving from magazines, of course, we stayed very much on the editorial train, and we really love using editorial as a way to connect with our brides. And that's not always you know, just fun facts for them. A lot of the time it's sharing about our clients, and it's telling them about that in a way that they are going to go and find. So how we sort of work it is that we look at social and the website and every form of digital marketing as helping each other. So that means posting our blogs to our Facebook and our social media channels, sending them in our EDMs, you know, all these different things that we basically look at it as if everything's working together, it's going to give us the best results possible. So I definitely think social media is something that Hayley's correct, that people are sitting on their computers and scrolling, and a lot of people don't have things to do at the moment.
Yeah.
So social media, our engagement has gone absolutely through the roof, not just on the website, but on our social platforms in the last sort of month or so.
Yeah, so we need that call to action, we need that.
Absolutely. And people are sitting at home, so why, like, you know, it's the great time to use that. You know, the statistics alone of people that use social media to plan their weddings, I think it's 70% of people use Pinterest. And for so many clients that I talk to, they don't know anything about Pinterest, which baffles me. But you know, things like that you know, people just haven't thought of because they haven't been around forever, and it's a different kind of marketing. And you know, they're things that people should look into. But I do absolutely agree with Matt that everything is important. It definitely shouldn't be you do Facebook and that's it. It's about covering all your bases, and you know, as he mentioned, using your time to make sure that you're doing whatever is going to help you the most first, but still hitting all those different areas as well. So I think it's all one. We look at it as sort of one big package where you want to be everywhere. you want to hit those 20 touch points with ease, which you can do just in so many different ways.
Yeah. And I even just think, like, you look at how quickly the world can change. You know, if
Absolutely.
your business is built on nothing other than an Instagram page, well, it's very unstable ground to have an entire business based on. So look, I know for us, we've been really looking at all the different things that we can do. So we've been really making sure that if we have generated interest through social media, that then we've got emails in place that are automated and that are templated that serve our couples, so that then they're like, oh my gosh, this is something I'm actually interested in and I want to receive. And it's not email marketing. It's just 3 extra emails after that first inquiry that are all, like you said, exactly, all done within 2 weeks. But it gives them a call to action. They might have seen me and then they got that first email and they go, oh yeah, I'll get back to her later. And then another email comes through, oh, hang on, I do need to get back to her. And then suddenly you're just staying top of mind with them again. The other thing we've been putting a bit of time into is thinking about how we can help other vendors in the community. So we've been taking some of the photos for a couple of different venues that we work with. So look out to a couple of venues. Hyatt Regency, hey Mary, if you're watching. We came up with the idea of they can't show their couples their albums in person that are normally sitting there. So we've created online slideshows. So we can hopefully help them to run their meetings on Zoom using our photos. Great.
That's so lovely. What a great idea.
Yeah, but that's it. It's like thinking about ways, because like that vendor to vendor relationship, if they're booking the venue right now, they trust them. And if that credibility and that trust can wash onto us as well, I think that's worth 10,000 social media likes.
Absolutely.
So first, they had 2 points, now our third point. Okay, so the third big mistake we want to not make. Okay, I'm just going to answer Riley's questions. What kind of email, what kind of content are in these emails? Sorry, Riley's just sent through a question. These initial 3 emails after the first inquiry, what kind of content would these emails include? So one of them is often that at this stage they're looking for a dress. So one of mine includes a link to a blog post, which is about I don't put a number on it because it kind of waves, but our top wedding gown designers. So some of the big names like your Stephen Cleels, like George Elsissa, like Lita Glory, like Caramellas Homes, all these wedding dress designers that we love working with. We created a blog and we featured some of our brides wearing their dresses, and then we turned that into a blog. So if they're thinking about where to get a wedding dress from, we're helping them, and we're helping these companies that we love working with as well. We've got one about how to style your wedding. So again, we're promoting flowers and venues that we love working with as well. Not venues, but florists and stylists and planners. So one's got advice on that, and the other one is the locations guide. So that way, if they're in that mindset of planning their wedding photography, probably something they're going to be finding useful is a guide to where to have photos taken. So we give them that guide as well. That one's actually given as an ebook. And hang on at the end of this as well, because you guys have got a free gift coming. It kind of gives you a little bit of a hint of what it might be. But everyone who attends today is getting a free gift at the end of this too. All right, our third big mistake we want to try and avoid in terms of marketing is not reviewing our activities, pricing, packages with fresh eyes and looking at how we can evolve them coming out of COVID. Now, this is something that we have been looking at because if you watched last week's webinar, one big outcome that we chatted about with the venues is that their cost structure is going to increase. Or their cost per head is likely to increase. The reason for that is things like buffets and grazing tables are not going to be able to be done anymore. They're going to have a person there plating up the food. Possibly the number of people per room is going to be decreased. So looking at that, most likely the total budget for couples weddings going forward, and this, I'm sorry to give you this bleak news, is not likely to increase. But that first booking portion is going to increase. So potentially there's going to be less money left for all the other suppliers and the vendor in that wedding. So we've been looking at ways that we can adjust our packages to meet better. And I'm not saying decrease necessarily, but I'm saying ways that we can better meet the needs of couples coming out of this. Now, that's kind of meaning that we're having really big thoughts, like how do we pivot this? How do we go from being a you know, how do we go from being something that we've always wanted to be to potentially now changing? And this was one of the reasons, Claudia, I wanted to have you on today, because at some point in time, I feel as though Modern Wedding must have been like, I love magazines and I love printed material. How did you get to that point where you went, it's time to go online and it's time to make a change?
Yeah, it's coming up to almost 2 years now, I think, since that happened.
Yeah.
It definitely wasn't an easy decision or a quick one. You know, directors, John and Victoria, took a lot of time to basically think about what was best for the business and what couples wanted. So basically the main reason is that there was this digital revolution. And we're lucky that we had a foundation on the digital side already. So I think that did ease the decision, that it wasn't, we'll stop print and then we'll start our business. It was, we'll just take everything over to digital. And it was basically a decision where they thought, we've got a head start, it'll make it easier to transition. And it basically just became that people wanted things online. Magazines are still loved. We still have people ordering some of our older issues. I still have people call me weekly to ask when's the next magazine coming out. It's not something that people stopped loving. I love them. Like, I really miss having a print magazine as well. But it was just so nice to flip through, and I still do every now and then in the office when I can. But it became that there was this digital revolution, and we basically looked at everything and went, what's working? Yes. And that was digital. And we went, okay, let's ramp that up. And that did mean not doing both, because trying to do all of that on digital and print is just not something that we looked at and basically very honestly went, this isn't going to work. Digital is what everyone is wanting, where everyone is. We've got this great foundation already. Let's basically ramp that up. So it definitely wasn't a quick decision, and it wasn't something that they were sort of, you know, forced into, unlike now, a situation where we don't have any control really over what's going on. But it definitely did show that things were different for a while. Yeah. Things were not and it took time for other people to fully understand that things were different. And I can't even count the amount of conversations that either myself or John or Vicky had with people. The print wasn't there, but digital was there. And, you know, it took time for people to sort of get their heads around it, because they were used to Sydney Wedding, published in 1990, the first issue. It was around for a long time. So it took time for people to understand that. But now that sort of that's happened and it's been a little while, people look at it and go, well, that makes complete sense. Of course you went to all digital. That's where everybody is. And every year more and more statistics come out which basically show that, yes, that's where everybody is. So it's definitely a point where we sort of look at this time now and sort of go, this is a transition that we didn't expect. Yeah. But we sort of look at it and go, that's fine. We handled that before. We went through a massive change in our business basically, and what we do. We can change again. We can sort of go with what needs to be done. And that's ultimately what happened, is that we looked at the world and went, we're going to just change what we do based on what the world wants. Yeah. Which is exactly what we're doing.
And I know that's what we're going through at the moment too, is, and it's not just about going, okay, that's what the world wants. It's also going, how do I monetize that? Yes. To be honest, like, it's one thing to say, okay, well, no one wants magazines, but now they want online. It's about saying, okay, well, how do I still earn as much revenue from that? Which is what we're struggling with a little bit. I mean, I'm sure you guys can imagine from the photography side of things, you know, you've got, we make our money off the products, but now people don't want the products as much. They want the files. So you need to totally rethink the way that you're monetizing things. Hayley, what about for you guys? Do you review these services that you offer and change them according to, you know, I guess like changes in trends?
Constantly, because music is always changing, and one of our major challenges is a lot of venues more and more, and especially in Sydney, like to bring in decibel monitors and put very strict sound restrictions on us, which sort of fueled a bit of a DJ revolution there for a time. So for us, it's really about catering to venues who look after us and making sure that we're looking after them and doing whatever we can to fit within their restrictions, because a lot of the time those restrictions that they're putting on us have been put on them. It's not necessarily that they want to quieten their parties down.
There's so much of that going on.
Exactly. So there's a lot of that. And so, yes, we're constantly sort of updating our services and updating how we can work with our venues, and also just updating how we interpret the music on the radio, because it's always changing, and the sounds that are being used by this, there was a time there where it probably wasn't as big a digital revolution as it was for Claudia, but for us it was more that sort of live instrument sound is being used less and less, and it's going more and more into sort of sounds and synthesizers and all those sorts of things. So we have a lot of fun coming up with new ways to interpret the songs on the radio, but yeah, we're very much having to reinvent ourselves constantly, just like the music industry.
No, that's cool. That's cool. And I should say we're now at 4:41. So I told all these guys, I made a pact. I'm going to go like so fast today, and I'm going to like boom, 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 and I'm going to be done by 4:45. And we're up to 0.4. So that's almost there, guys. Pop in the chat box. Tell me how we're going. Are we going fast enough? Do we need to go faster, slower? Just feedback as we're going through, okay? Alrighty. So I'm going to recap just quickly. So our first marketing mistakes we want to avoid is focusing too much on being desperate. Made that mistake already this week. That's probably why that one jumped top of the queue. We really want to make sure that we're nailing that sale, converting every lead, and focusing on those conversions. And the second point leading into that is to make sure we're not just doing social marketing and social media. We want to really take that social media warmth and credibility that we're generating and knowledge of us, and step it through that know, like, trust factor, and really start turning that into a call to action that means that we can then get a lead. Hi all, question. Oh, hang on, I'll finish the third one. And then reviewing. As we obviously step into this new area, COVID-19 is going to result in the wedding industry changing. So we do need to review what we're offering, and look at pricing, packages, and all those different things with new eyes. And also not just now, in 2 weeks, and then in 60 days after that. There's going to be changes over time. Now, before we get into the fourth one, hi all, question. Matt mentioned in regards to email marketing being a no-no. My connection slightly cut out and I didn't hear what was said. I come from an old school marketing background, pre-digital era. I've always been in the mindset of sending out EDMs, sending specials via email, etc. Is this also a no-no strategy? I'll let you answer that one, Matt.
Yeah, Murray, I was just talking about like the sort of nurture period that you've got for sales leads doesn't lend itself in the wedding industry to mail outs. Generally, the couple has a pretty distinct pattern of planning services. So first up's usually like the venue, then it might be the wedding dress, celebrant, photographer, so on, so on. Generally, they're spending about 2 to 4 weeks on each service. Apart from the venue, it's a little bit more time. But if you're relying on, in the first week, they're probably making all their inquiries. The second week, they're making all their, face-to-face visits, or at the moment, maybe Zoom chats. By week 3, they've pretty much made their decision. So if you're hoping to hit them up in week 3 with an email campaign of some degree, then you're probably not going to be successful. They've already made a decision. So it's more about how do you make the greatest impact as quickly as possible with each individual couple.
Cool. No, that's good. And then Anthony's got a question here, maybe not a marketing question. Oh, I so want to answer this one. More sales. Thoughts on suppliers, venues accepting signed contracts without a deposit? I'm a big fan if you've got to have skin in the game. Like, I personally, right now, I need to book and have a booking on every date that I can get. And I'm not giving that, like, if someone books me but doesn't put down a deposit, I don't honestly think that they're honest, that they've really committed.
They're not serious.
They're not serious, and they're leaving themselves that window to be able to, get out of it. And I don't have time to take them to court to follow up on chasing a contract. You signed it and you owe, and I don't want I just don't have energy to focus on that. I 100% would not accept a booking right now, because I need that spot available for someone who's serious, and I'm not giving that to anybody unless they're booking.
Yeah, it's certainly a no pay, no play game here. certainly you got to set the expectation that 2021 that you guys are going to be booked out like every Saturday night.
100%.
You cannot have any risk in the business that, you're going to go, sign a contract and then go meet with a few other suppliers to make sure I'm perfect. Like, I'm going to be booked out in the next 2 weeks for that date. Do you want to work together? I'd love to be part of your wedding. If not, that's fine too.
And I am definitely using that as something that I'm communicating. When I communicate with my couples and encourage them to book, one thing I do is talk about the fact, exactly like you said, we're dates are filling up because you've got double the amount of brides and half the number of Saturdays. We're doing Thursdays, we're doing Fridays, we're shooting everything coming up. If you want to get that date, you do need to book now because it will go. And I also make the suggestion that they do that for hair and makeup and anybody, venues, anybody who can only do one, or, you need a specific item on that day. Yeah, 100% use that as a message to communicate out to them as well.
Yeah, great demand.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. That was a good question. All right, number 4, not spending enough money in the right areas. Now, I know for myself coming out of this, I'm like going, right, I have gone through my bank account. I have trimmed every little bit of fat, even those little auto pays that I kind of forgot about. And they were like draining $20 out of my account every month. And I'm like, who are you? What do you do? Am I actually paying for that crap? Damn it, gone. So I am like trying to operate our business as lean as I possibly can. But having said that, I think a big mistake we can make coming out of this is to not spend our money on areas that count, because we are going to need to ramp up our marketing. We are going to need to grow out of this. And the one thing there's 2 areas that basically I've gone right. I'm in my business plan. I'm going to invest in 2 areas: marketing and learning. And I'm going to talk to the second part a little bit more in a second, and the 5th point, but I've said 100 times, when you're a small business, you are your business's greatest asset. I'm like at the moment throwing money out there going, right, I need to get better at this. I need to systemize. If there's a way that like, I don't want to employ any more people at the end of this, I want to keep my cost structure as low as I can. What can I systemize and what can I automate so that I can have as few people hours as possible and keep my costs as low as possible, and then spend that money on marketing and growing my business? Does anybody want to jump in on that one?
I think we've always used, still use, little programs that we find, and I know we've talked about this before, Rachael, that little programs that make everything easier. They take a 6-hour job and make it done in an hour. Even things like, I'm always telling clients about Tailwind, which is a program that lets you schedule on Pinterest and it picks the best times to post. It makes everything quicker. It takes us about a 6-hour job and makes it done in about half an hour. Immediately that frees up more time. And I'm still doing every bit of marketing that I would have done if I had to do it myself. Sched for scheduling Instagram, scheduling Facebook, all those kinds of things really help. They're not huge price tags. No. You're not spending heaps of money. You're spending a little bit of money to make something so much easier for you. And you're freeing up more time to look. I've been doing the same as you, Rachael. I'm trying to learn what I can. Courses come up and I'm like, yep, doing that. Anything I can learn right now, it's a massive bonus, and it's really going to help moving forward in the next 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. So I think all those little programs that help free up a bit of my time, I will always recommend to anybody, because I think they are just the biggest time savers, and they're not really pushing up costs. It would cost more to employ someone to do that for me, instead of just taking 20 minutes out of my day and doing that myself. So I'm a very big believer in those little programs to help for anything. And talking to other vendors, I find you learn about these programs you've never heard of.
Yes.
And you go, I didn't know about that one. That's great. I'm going to look into that. And, I've learned a lot from you guys in terms of photo editing for Instagram stories. I've taken a lot of what you and Dean have showed me and gone, wow, okay, getting that immediately. That's fantastic. So any little thing like that, I think is just something that absolutely you just need to spend that little bit of money just to help you.
Oh yeah, I just downloaded Mojo yesterday and had some serious fun, like doing like video, Instagram stories. They just make our photos look so good and engaging. Canva, if you're not already on that, oh my God.
Absolutely.
Apologies to all the graphic designers out there, but we're not using graphic designers anymore. Canva revolutionized us. We use, for our client CRM, we use Tave, which is fantastic for our workflow. We use a program called Monday, which is fantastic. And especially now that we're all working remotely, it has been a godsend to just be able to do all those as well. What about you, Matt? Are there any sort of automations or systems that you find save money and time?
Obviously we've got our own software that we build inside to manage the back end of Easy Weddings, but
that's a good point, because through yours you can actually have all that emails go out, right?
Yeah, we have a lot of internal sort of systems that we've built over the years, but aside from that, we've also had to learn how to work from home as an organisation. So Trello, not Trello, Slack has been really good.
I've heard about Slack. Tell me
Slack's
about
awesome.
Slack is just, team-based communications. You can split everything up into channels. So for me, where I've got like 8 departments in my business, it's really good. We can have 8 different channels of communication. It's just a sort of an upgraded of sort of Google Hangouts or just Instant Messenger. So that's been good. Trello is just for the project management that we've been using, obviously all the Zoom stuff. You're talking about not spending money in the right areas as the sort of topic for this, I guess. I just want to make sure everyone's aware of all the grants that are out there at the moment. The JobKeeper obviously gets a lot of press and is a great initiative by the government. It's saved a lot of jobs. So we'll see what they do after the first 6 months. But I want you all to sort of look into the state-based grants as well. Vic and New South Wales are both giving out $10,000 grants, and very lenient for wedding businesses. So that's pretty much a gimme sort of grant. We all need it at the moment. Times haven't been tougher than this. So look at your, the federal government, the state, and also local. Even some of the locals, like the Melbourne government was giving out $5,000 for marketing activities alone. So just make yourself aware of those. Talk to your accountant if you've got any questions. Really important. Also the subscriptions. In the first week of this, I think it hit us pretty hard at the whole industry on the 16th of March was sort of D-Day, I felt, and we straight away had to look at all the costs in the business. And you do get sort of fat over years through good times. You end up getting each little subscription, and I think I brought this up at one of the first team meetings and said, guys, we need to look at every single expense in the business, and it was great. Like the whole team was so supportive, and I had emails coming from everywhere. We can cut this, Matt. For me, I said it was all about it's all about jobs and customers at the moment, and anything that doesn't keep jobs or make customers happy, it's out. So it's just revisiting everything on your P&L and saying, what do we want versus what do we actually need? So going through that exercise, I assume most people have sort of done that so far. If you really spending money just has to be about keeping current clients happy or finding new clients. It's all about that. So what can you put money into that's going to generate more leads and help you convert more sales?
Exactly. No, that's perfect. And it does, and like I was saying in the last one as well, you 100% are your business's greatest asset. So the fifth sort of mistake I sort of wanted to suggest in terms of marketing is underestimating the value of you. So, do spend that time. Like when you're in a small business, your small business works as hard as you do. You're the driving force. You're the reason that you're going to come out of this in either a growth mindset or someone who's, or a business that's scared and falling behind and unwilling to change. As the business owner, you've got to learn everything that you can. And I'm just going to give a shameless plug to Evolve. Oh my God, I loved last year's event. I'm guessing that, yeah, kind of not an events year kind of thing this year, but you know, whenever the next one is on, it was just days of like awesome people on the stage, and I was like just writing notes furiously. Anything you can do to develop yourself is something that is worth doing, but then also don't underestimate yourself in the terms of what we were talking about before in terms of credibility building. You know, the example I always think of is someone applied to us for a job and they're a photographer, and I wanted to check out who they were. So I went to their Instagram page and I just saw lots of pretty pictures of weddings and they all looked the same. And I went, oh yeah, looks the same as every other photographer's, you know, picture out there. But when you can put your face to it and show that you're a real human behind just pictures of random people, and you know, bring your voice and who you are and the values that you stand for and the fact that you are credible, when you can bring that into your marketing and your advertising and understand that as a small business, you know, you are who the business is driven by, and that's what people are buying into. They're not buying into a piece of paper with a picture on it. They're buying into the fact that they trust you to capture the most important memories on their day. Would anybody else like to offer anything into that comment?
I definitely think you are so right that, you know, for any business right now, you know, you're the most important thing. And I think there's something that has really been a focus for me, and, you know, Victoria, our director, has really made it important, is taking care of yourself. Because if you're not taking care of yourself, you can't run a business successfully. It's just, it's plain and simple, really. And it's not a good time. It's not an easy time. What's happening is not normal. I don't know about anyone else, but I hate being stuck at home and not in the office with my team. I miss them so much.
Yeah.
I miss the interaction, and it's very easy to get, you know, to not feel as productive or not feel as good or as energetic or whatever it is. So I think taking care of yourself is so important. And things like putting your face to your business on socials, it may seem a little scary sometimes.
Yeah.
But it actually makes you feel a little bit better because you feel like you're communicating. I have a friend who's a celebrant, and she's always going to Instagram and chatting. And it's not always about her work, but it actually makes her feel better. And I always talk to her about the fact that she feels better because she feels like she's actually communicating with people.
Yeah.
And it's doing two things. It's giving you that credibility. It's giving your business a face, but it's also helping you still have that connection with the outside world and with vendors. And I think that's one of the most important things that I've learned in the last few weeks is to really be taking care of yourself so that you can take care of your business, and you can get up and still have your routine, which is so hard to keep. Impossible. So to still have your routine and to still have that drive, I think is so important. And doing things like developing skills, doing courses, things that give you that passion and that drive, I think is just one of the best pieces of advice, which actually a friend gave me. Like when this started, I was like, that's great. I'm going to run with that. And I have, and it's made everything better and more productive. And now that we can sort of look forward and go, weddings might be changing soon and be more people, and we can sort of see we're starting to come out the other side a little bit, that you can start to be even more driven and do even more to help yourself and your business.
And I love Serge's comment down here. Look after yourself so you can look after others. 100%.
So true.
Now, we just had a question here. We're coming up to the 5 o'clock mark, so I'm going to answer the question, and then I'm going to tell you about the little free gift thingy. Oh, I just got a champagne top up in the background. Nice one. Thank you, honey. Woohoo! Good service. Now, best tips for a celebrant starting out. Most important foundational advice. Look, Claudia just touched on it then, and this is just my personal thoughts. 100% business relationships. People ask me all the time because for us, photography tends to get booked a long way in advance. They may have an idea of where they're thinking about for their outdoor ceremony, but I'm always a big believer in working out the time frame or the order in which purchases are made in a wedding plan. So for me, as a wedding photographer, once the venue's booked, that gives them a date. So once they have a date, they go to the photographer. So I interact really strongly with venues and do things like giving them online, examples of my work, because that helps me help them. For a celebrant, you know, I would be talking to people and getting to know photographers, getting to know other people that have purchased or booked before you, and organising a referral system. And I'm not talking about, you know, kickbacks and stuff like that. I'm talking more about, like, I do find that people in our industry tend to want to refer people because they genuinely want to work with good people on the day. You know, so if you can just go and, you know, I had beautiful Amira from For Thy Sweet Love gave us little biscuits for Easter. Thank you, Amira. You know, little things like that that are relationship builders, get to know people. Yeah, and build up your referral network. That would be the 100% the first thing I would do. Do you guys want to add anything more about how a celebrant starting out could do?
I would love to add something.
Yeah.
I sing at so many wedding ceremonies, and the one thing that really sort of differentiates the celebrants are those who understand their microphone and the equipment that they're using. Please, if you're starting out, go and, you know, learn as much as you can about your equipment and how the microphone's going to work and how it can enhance your role in the ceremony, rather than being a sort of distraction or an obstacle in some cases.
Good advice. You guys, that's good.
I'll give you a tip too.
Join Easy Weddings? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
That too.
Oh yeah, you can join Easy Weddings. That'd be great. No, it's all about, like, we're in a visual industry. It's all about photos. So as a new celebrant, you've got to go out and do weddings. You've got to build a portfolio. So whatever you have to do to, you know, win jobs, yeah, beg, plead and steal with friends and relatives if you can do their wedding, because so many celebrants try and start without photos, and really it's all about photos. So you really need to get those first 4 or 5 weddings under your belt, and you know, form a relationship with the photographer at each of those weddings. You know, put a link to them on your website or whatever you need to do to sort of get some nice photos. Generally, photographers are really happy to pass on the photos from the event. Sometimes they're really busy straight after the wedding. So if they don't get back to you straight away, ask a second time. Don't be afraid. We really need to get those photos. Yeah, you may need to discount your price. That's the only real time I'll say you need to discount. But at the start, when you're building that portfolio, do whatever you need to do to sort of win those first few jobs. The secondary thing is very similar to the first. Get a good headshot.
Yes.
The number one thing that dictates whether, you know, celebrants are successful in this industry or not is, you know, usually the couple saying, is this celebrant going to look good in my wedding photos? And as sad as that might be for some celebrants, it's the reality of it. You've got to look good. So yeah, put some money into some professional headshots and so forth. There's plenty of photographers in our industry that would love to help you out. So make sure photos, are just, really taken into consideration.
That is awesome advice. Thank you for that, guys. So now the yay surprise free gift that I'm going to be emailing you guys all after. If you saw the webinar 2 weeks ago, we had Jeremiah Hartman, who's a wedding MC, and he was talking to us how we can increase our sales through Zoom. So he's actually now written an ebook, and he's like listed everything in there. And I'm talking down to the details of what settings to use for Zoom videos, how to light, how to talk, how to dress, how to compose. Like, he has, like, it's so detailed. And because I'd said to him, I put him on the spot online. I'm like, hey, Dal, can you write this down for us so we can look at it after? And he comes back with an ebook. I'm like, whoa. So I'm going to email that out to you guys as a free gift at the end of this, just to say thank you for coming along. And so that should hopefully be something that you can really take away and, you know, see as something really valuable as well. Now, I'm going to go through a couple more comments. Please keep sending us through the chats, and we'll just get through as many as we can, as quickly as we can there too. So Amira is lovely. Anyone she chooses to work with means I'm instantly at ease. True credibility, 100%. See, that's what I mean by suppliers all supporting each other. I love it. Question for Rachael. As a wedding photographer, I found that 1 year I might have a pretty busy wedding season, and the next year quiet, then another busy, then oh hell yeah, I hear ya. What have you found to be the best help for a starting photographer to not only book weddings, but to also maintain the amount of bookings and improve? What is the best way to win over your wedding inquiries? Okay, there's a couple of things here. One thing, if you like, so we've been in business for 18 years. Is it 18 years? Oh gosh, 18 years into this year. Whoa, we started in 2002. And look, times have really changed. Like when we first started, couples would come in and, you know, we had to convince them to put a deposit down, and they'd seen one photo in a magazine and they didn't know who we were. Now they walk in the door and they're like, oh yeah, I saw that on Instagram. Yeah, I know who you are, you know, but, when you're starting out, the one thing that is super important is getting back to people really quickly and being professional. I can't tell you how many people tell us they booked us because of our professionalism. Because when they turned up, like I was in a suit jacket and not in, like sometimes I think people can be a little bit too casual when they're, you know, I even think back to what I used to wear, like, you know, flat shoes and jeans and, you know, like, it's all about creating an experience for your couples. And when you create an experience and they fall in love with you and they fall in love with their photos, then they refer you. And the one thing that we've found is that people obviously are getting married at a stage in their life where a lot of their friends and their sisters and brothers are also getting married, and developing that referral base. Like, we'll do one sister's wedding and then we do the cousin's wedding and then we do the other sister's wedding. So I would say the best thing you can do starting out is to, I've just jumped into 7 different areas there. I get so excited about it. But the first one is to create an experience for your couples that is something special, and it doesn't have to cost you money. I guess that's the main part of it too. We offer what's called a slideshow, where people, like a proof viewing, where they come in and they actually sit in our studio and they watch their photos after their wedding, all set to music, and we give them a glass of champagne. Trust me, it's not very expensive champagne. And they sit there and they watch it and they relive the day, and all those happy memories are associated with us and with their photos. And then that leaves them walking out the door in love with their photos, rather than just getting a download link and look, just going click, click, click. And then we also ask them for a review after that. And say and they go, oh my God, your photos are amazing. And we send an email follow-up that, you know, says, please rank us on Google. Like, please, you know, leave us a Google review. Please leave us an Easy Weddings review. So that is definitely what I would do in there. And that will definitely even out the numbers that you get every year, because you're getting that consistent referrals, and also decreases your marketing costs, because that doesn't cost anything. In terms of, increasing your conversion rate, 100%, just reply, be professional, have no typos in your emails, and be ready when people walk in the door. One of my things that is my secret is that when they walk in the door, we're going to show them their photos on a big screen, and we always have welcome and their names on the screen. And the number of people that freak out at the fact that their names are on the screen, it's like, they just, oh my God, you made me feel special. You made me feel special. You made me, you know, I can tell that you care about the fact that my wedding's coming up, and that you know, you're going to treat me as someone special. I 100% think that's the best thing you can do. Anybody else want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I'll add to that. I think you just need a consistent, like, everyone needs to do a budget, right? And we need to put marketing costs in that budget.
See, I love Matt. He's like, yeah, that's the airy fairy junk, Rachel. Now let's talk. That's serious. Love it. No, this is what I love. This is awesome.
Yeah, I just see it all the time, right? Like, suppliers quite often have a bumper year, right? Everything's tracking along really well. And then they're like, oh, I'll just cut some marketing. Things are going really well right now. But the marketing we do in the wedding industry is for 12 months' time.
Yes.
So marketing we do today is like, photography is 12 months, venues is like 14 to 18 months out.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just the up and down marketing spends, which will create, you know, that flow on effect in sort of 12, 18 months, depending, you know, 5 months. It just depends on what category you're in. So you just need to, be a bit more consistent, keep watching the activity and the ROI from each marketing source. But yeah, you just need to be a bit more consistent over time is probably what's happening. We just get comfortable. We just get a bit complacent, I guess, as well, that all this work's coming in, but we don't think about the next wedding season as much.
And it's not even complacent. I know we've made the mistake as well. And this is why I talk about automations and where we'll have a bumper year and we're so bloody busy trying to do the work that you forget to advertise. And then the next year comes around and you're 100% right. So the best thing that you can do is absolutely plan ahead and automate. And I'm like systems. Perfect. I'm just having a look through here. Good work, Matt. Getting some good things. Great advice. Thanks, Jasmine. Excellent. Everything matters. Good one, Serge. Cool. Thanks, Marios. Oh my goodness, that's great. And Nicole was just saying here, personal professionalism is a massive thing. Huge thing. So many people don't get the professionalism right. It's crazy. By the way, my first magazine ad was with Modern Wedding in 1990. Ooh.
Oh my goodness. We recently went through our first magazine because it was put out with photos of John and Vicky of their wedding, and they just had their 30th wedding anniversary. So we actually just recently went back through the first issues, which was a blast from the past, let me tell you. Vicky put back on her wedding dress after 30 years and still fits in it. So
I know.
I know. So that's amazing.
That's fantastic. Well, guys, thank you for all these kind words, and thank you for being so interactive with the chat today. It's so nice to hear that you guys are liking what we have to say. Oh, 99, that's okay. That's fantastic. It's so good to see that you guys are enjoying it, and let me know what you'd like to hear more about, and if there's any particular panelists that you'd like to hear from in the future. And the main thing is that I really think that right now there's going to be so much change, and I'd love to hear what is working, what is not working, all those different things as we go forward. So we've got the Weddinar closed Facebook group that's available for everyone to join, and then it will be a closed group because I want to be able to put my sales things on there that are working, and I don't necessarily want everybody to hear all the things that we're doing, but so it's a closed group. We can share what's working. We can share what's not working, share ideas, and really keep this conversation going in our group offline. I get on Facebook as well. So I'll email you all that out straight after the session as well. And you can also, if you want to watch this again, or you want to share it with anybody who you think would benefit from watching it, this will all be on the Weddinar, the dedicated YouTube channel as well. Thanks, guys. Stay strong. I love that. Thanks so much. That's awesome. Fantastic. I think that's it. Cheers to finish.
Cheers.
Oh, I've only gone, half an hour over my attempted effort at 40 minutes. We'll see how we go. All right. Thanks, guys. You have a wonderful weekend.
Thanks so much.
Thanks.